Okay, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to apostles and elders, great millstone, who rule and teach well. Peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful like Akim, pushing this word with truth and sincerity. Shalom to the Akim, Wa Akwath, listening and learning. This is the brother Karathas of Men of Valor, Las Vegas camp. Coming back with another lesson, Lord willing, be edifying. Zechariah 5:1, it says, Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he said unto me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. Then said he unto me, This is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off, as on this side, according to it, and everyone that sweareth shall be cut off on that side, according to it. All right, what Zechariah is describing, all right, is a chariot of Israel, what this world calls today a UFO or a UAP. Okay, the small tic-tac shape that was described, all right, is going to be the curse of the earth and the salvation of the elect. All right. And it says in verse 4, I will bring it forth, saith Yahweh of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief, and into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name, and it shall remain in the midst of the house, and then shall consume it with the timber thereof and the stones thereof. That is the destruction, as we know according to 2nd Esdras, the 13th chapter, or 2nd Esdras, the 16th chapter. All right, that they have laser beams. Also, you could even go, just to keep it, in the blue letter, in the book of Exodus. All right, it says, and a good depiction of that fire that can be shot out of those chariots, all right, is in 2nd Esdras, where it says that at the Lord's presence, who shall not be utterly beaten to death. And a good depiction of that scripture is War of the Worlds, the movie with Tom Cruise. And this is Exodus 31 and 18. It says, And he gave unto Moses, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone written with the finger of power. All right, and those that incision that was made in that stone, all right, could only have been no other than a precise precise cutting, which that had to be done with a like a laser. Okay, the finger of power. All right, Moses didn't write it himself. He wasn't up there etching, the commandments. Okay, the Lord, Yahweh Shai did that. But listening to the apostles last night in their camp, they were going into how, the UFOs and the UAPs, they defy gravity. Okay, and that made a couple scriptures pop in my head. First one being as birds flying. Because as these vehicles, I've heard a brother say, they're of destruction, as in Zechariah said, the curse of the whole earth, but they're also, vehicles of our salvation as well. All right, so the elect will be delivered by the same vehicles, all right, that the rest of the world is going to be in fear of. And we'll actually get that before we close out this lesson. It says, as birds flying, so will Yahweh of hosts defend Jerusalem. Defending also, he will deliver it, and passing over, he will preserve it. Okay? As birds flying. When you watch, birds fly, they fly in, groups. But, they could swoop down. And as the apostles were talking about the hummingbird, how it could even go backwards for a few seconds. Well, all life, imitates, the Most High's glory. All right, let me say that. All creatures imitate the glory of the Most High. And the chariots of Israel are supernatural. All right. So they can do that and more. All right. They're not of this world. That's why, the scriptures talk about the strangeness of our salvation. This is going to be Psalm 34. I may have went to the wrong. 34:7. The angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him, and delivereth them. And the angels, are these pilots of the chariots. The book of Ezekiel 1:4 says, and I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud. A cloud also being a description or another code word for a chariot. And a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it. And out of the midst thereof was as the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire. All right. Also, this is going to be talk of this creature being spoken about is a angel. Out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was the appearance that they had the likeness of a man, that being, okay, an angel. Okay. And those 4 creatures being, symbolic of of different characteristics that the angels have. All right, but they had the appearance like a man, as a likeness of a man. These angels look like the so-called, black man, and as you had a well, I won't speak about that now because I can't remember the exact details. I can't remember that whistleblower's name. This is Ezekiel, now dropping down Slack you. One in, I want to make sure I'm at the right scripture. Slack you. Yeah, right here. And it says, in verse 12, it says, and they went, everyone straightforward, whither the Spirit was to go, they went, and they turned not when they went. Okay? And this was the main scripture that I thought about as the apostles were describing, the movement of the so-called UFOs or UAPs, man. Because really they're led by the spirit of the angels. Okay? It's like wherever they think they just go. They don't have, they're not bound or restricted to gravity. All right, and there's multiple accounts of pilots, witnessing these, witnessing the chariots of Israel, and just accounts of them saying that they shouldn't be able to move like that. But hey, they have the spirit of Yahweh Shemel Shai with them, man. They're supernatural, or called supernatural for a reason. Okay, so wherever they want to go, they just up, down, left, right. So that is for the likeness of the living creatures, was their appearance was like burning coals of fire, like the appearance of lamps. It went up and down among the living creatures, and the fire was bright, and out of the fire went forth lightning. All right, that being, okay, that lightning, the laser, man. And the living creatures ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning. Now I beheld the living creatures, behold the wheel upon the earth by the living creatures with his 4 faces. And then one more description. I don't know why this is doing that. Of the chariots. Here in verse 16, it says, the appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto color of beryl, that green. It says, and they 4 had one likeness. All right. And their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the midst of a wheel. All right. A wheel inside, and you'll see the outer, when you look at a chariot, you'll see like an outer ring. It says when they went, okay, and that's that wheel inside of a wheel. You have where, the angel is at, and then you have an outer, like an outer saucer. So it says, when they went upon their 4 sides, and they turned not when they went. As for their rings, they were so high that they were dreadful, and their rings were full of eyes round about them. Maybe this was the scripture I was looking for. And we'll read down. It says, and when the living creature went, the wheels went by them. And when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. Whithersoever the Spirit was to go, they went. Thither was their spirit to go, and the wheels were lifted up against them, for the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. Okay. So they're just another, reiteration of, hey, wherever they go, the the chariot moves with them, man. And let's get this. That was pretty much it. I just wanted to touch on as it says in the book of Luke 21 and 28 says, and when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. That redemption that draweth nigh is speaking of our salvation. There's going to be a physical deliverance as well, just as in times past. In Egypt, you had the pillar of fire and darkness. A light for the Israelites and darkness that plagued the Egyptians. That came from those chariots. Okay. So when likewise in this time you're gonna have that destruction and salvation simultaneous. Okay, it says look up because that's how we're gonna know that our salvation is here. We're gonna see it. Earth gonna see that curse. But hey, that's a good thing for the elect, because then we get to that end goal. The elect. And we talked about the salvation. Here in Revelation 15 and 2 says, and I saw it as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire. All right, that sea of glass being, the floor of the chariot. All right, the fire being, those thrusters. All right, the propellers. It says, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having harps of Yahweh. All right. So that's the vision of that's that. Then we at rest, That's when we can finally have peace, and our work is done. But that's when you're gonna know you good. But we must endure all things to get there. So there's gonna be a time where we're delivered out of here, and we're going to be standing and watching over the destruction. The rest of this destruction plays out. So Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson. I want to give all glory, honor, and praise unto Yahweh B'Shem El Shai B'Shem Rakakwadash. Till next time, I say Shalom.